Good morning, I'm Julio Saenz, along with Mauricio Riveros. Today we'll meet Marjorie Dowlatt, owner of Da Vinci's Italian restaurant in Greece, and learn the secret recipe to her family business.
We hope you will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community. We'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Hi, Major. Thank you very much to be Inspired, a show that we developed to inspire our community, to build those relationships and show, people like you who are entrepreneurs, started business. So tell us, who is Major?
Well, first, thank you for having me here today. But my name is Marjorie Fitzgerald Dowlatt. I am the co-owner of Da Vinci's of Greece. It is myself and my husband, Paul Dowlatt. We acquired the business back in November 2019, and this restaurant has actually been a staple of the Greece community for the last 28 years. So we're actually the third owners coming in on this business. So my husband actually is a chef. He's been a chef for the last 25 years. He thoroughly enjoys cooking. I myself pretty much just run the front of the house. My place is definitely not in the kitchen. But we are a restaurant that serves fine dining Italian. So we have everything from homemade pasta, sauces, chicken, hand-cut steaks, and wonderful Italian desserts.
Well, that is wonderful. So tell us a little bit more about your story, getting in the restaurant business. Of course, your husband is a chef, but tell us a little bit about you and did you grow up in Rochester? Tell us a little bit more about your background.
Okay, so I actually grew up in Greece, right here in Greece, New York, all through elementary and middle school. I then moved to the city with my family, of course, as my mom started her own business, a nail salon. She was actually the first African-American nail salon in the city of Rochester. So entrepreneurship definitely runs in the blood, as you can see. So my husband is actually from Jamaica. He's actually been here almost 20 years. And like I said, he actually started in Jamaica with his culinary skills. In their high school, they actually do like they do at Edison Tech here, where they try and get you to get a vocational or a type of trade within high school. So with him graduating with that background, he started at resorts in Jamaica and then moved here to Rochester and has been flourishing within the, honestly, the Italian eatery community here in Rochester. We actually have 4 children. The 2 oldest do work within the restaurant. They're 21-year-old twin girls. And we have a couple little guys, a 9 and a 3-year-old as well, who spend much time here in the restaurant. If they're not helping, they're cleaning, vacuuming, doing whatever. So it really is a family-run business. We're all hands in.
That's a wonderful story, Marjorie. Can you tell us a little bit about how you manage the family relationship within as well?
Yeah, so that gets a little tricky, right? Working together and living together. I think the common goal is just making sure we end this, if we ever do, successfully, and it's leaving a legacy. Both my husband and myself have worked for people for many years. I myself has been in the medical field for the last 20 years, and I took an early retirement to go full force here at the restaurant. And I think that was really one of the things, just having to prioritize and putting family first, and what we really want to do for generations to come, for our children and our children's children, things like that. But the dynamics of working alongside your husband and your children, it gets a little tricky, but we try to stay under those umbrellas. We're at work, we're doing this, we're at home, we're still loving each other just the same.
But I love that concept of the family together, all together working, and that's important. So tell us a little bit about COVID and how you were able to overcome this circumstance, running a restaurant in the middle of COVID. What was the experience?
So, like I said, we just acquired the business. We purchased it back in November 2019. So we weren't but 4 months in when the pandemic hit, and everyone typically expects your first year of business to be a little bit tricky, a little rocky, but no one would have ever imagined this at all. So I think with us coming in, new owners, I think it may have been a little bit easier for us to just be able to pivot the way that we're servicing our customers and being open to trying new things. which we did. We went full force with third-party ordering applications, doing our own self-delivery, doing off-site catering. We do have 2 banquet rooms that have a capacity of 200, and all that was shut down. So that, and that was peak season. That's wedding season, springtime bridal showers, baby showers, things like that. So we just decided to change our business plan and make it work the best way possible. So it was a lot of thinking outside of the box to make it work, because we couldn't give up. We were too new into the game to really just give up at that point. But it was very difficult, being shut down twice, once in the spring, with everyone, and then we're shut down again being in the orange zone at the end of last year through the winter of 2020. So we really tried our very best just to be able to still service our customers. And luckily, we've had a great outpouring of support, and our community really showed up to support us through this. And that honestly is the only way that we could have made it through.
And a question about your food. Now, I have had the pleasure of eating there, and I have to say it was fantastic. What's your favorite thing on the menu?
My favorite dish, watching my figure, so I try to stay away from the carbs and the loads of pasta, but my favorite is the tortellini al penne, which is absolutely amazing. It's 3 cheese tortellini and a cheese sauce with prosciutto and peas and mushrooms. Oh, it's great.
Well, that's wonderful. Definitely, we need to go with you to visit the restaurant. So, how do you see the future of the restaurant? Of course, you just started, and the restaurant has history and tradition. But what is the future? What's your perspective about the future of the restaurant? What's the vision?
Our future is definitely to expand and expand within the building, as well as expanding outside to other locations, possibly expanding into different cuisines. Here we're doing fine dining Italian. Fine dining Caribbean is definitely not off the table with my husband's cultural heritage and background. So just thinking bigger and better, that's the main plan, just to keep growing bigger and bigger.
So if folks at home who are thinking of starting a business, or maybe they have just started within the last few years, what are some tips as far as managing your time? Do you use a particular application, something on the phone? How do you manage your time?
So I'm still a little old school, so I like to have paper trails for a lot of things. So I do a lot of emailing, contracts and things like that. We still have those in place. QuickBooks helps a lot with trying to hone in everything into one, application, being able to have that. It's very important to make sure that you have your backup. So, you have the front of the house of the restaurant or whatever your business may be, but make sure your bookkeeping is set in order. That's very big. And having people you can trust in those places to see you through that. Really, time management is a big one. I can wake up and I have 10 emails to answer. So having to make sure, I set within the week, so this day I'll dedicate to this, and the next day I'll dedicate to this, specific time within those days to get each task done and completed, which is ultimately the most important. Make sure you're completing everything that you start, and never think anything is too big. Just if you plan things out, plan accordingly, anything is possible. So you definitely can do it.
Oh, that's very important. And this connects to my next question, which is, what will be your message to people who are right now in really depression because of what happened with COVID? You are an entrepreneur. You have that spirit to go and try to find solutions. What will be your message to people who are right now struggling with this circumstance that we are living?
I'm a big believer in what you think is what it will be. So you have to change your mindset of everything. If you're thinking negatively, then you're going to point out the negative things around you. If it's positivity, then everything that you look, there's an opportunity. There was a lot of businesses that decided just to close on, like, this is impossible, we can't do it. Again, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So just be positive with it. Just have the mindset that you can get through it. Take it day by day. That's the other thing. Taking things day by day, because it can become overwhelming if you're looking at the bigger picture. Step by step, day by day, and things will always get better.
That is wonderful. Now, Rochester, you know, you grew up here, you know, Rochester. How do you see our city and how you see the future of our city in terms of, you know, people investing in this place? I know we passed COVID, but what's your perspective about the future of Rochester in general and the surrounding areas?
I believe the future of Rochester is going to be something amazing. With me becoming an entrepreneur recently, I started networking, which I think is actually very important for any business owner. Networking is going to be key. So meeting up with other people and not knowing how many other entrepreneurs and businesses that are within our community, you know, and just having the knowledge of them, you know, knowing that they're there and being able to have someone to call on to run ideas by, to, you know, it's kind of like sharing the wealth. And sharing the wealth is the knowledge and the information that we have and we can pass amongst each other. And what I've learned is there are so many entrepreneurs right here in Rochester. There's so much business opportunities. There are so many ideas where Rochester could really become a thriving community. And, you know, with things that are the mayor's rolling out, there's different programs and things they're trying to set in place to help these people make this possible. I think it's going to be great. I can't see us failing in any way. I think there's a very bright future for Rochester.
Well, thank you, Marjorie. We'll be back with more after these messages. Interacting with the customers is so important. How do you make sure you get good people?
Well, trial and error, that's for sure. You know, everyone can interview well, but you know, once you get them in the building and see how they actually work with each other, I think it takes patience. I think you have to be clear on what your motto is. You know, what our mission statement is for ourselves and what we expect and our, you know, what we're trying to bring to the table. And so if we can find employees who are on board with that and understanding that you're not working for us, you're working with us. And we try to make that clear. As a boss, which I don't really like to say, I feel like no job here is beneath me. If I'm expecting someone else to do it, I most certainly should be able to do it and have no problem doing it. So working alongside them and really letting them know that we're working together on this, you can build a wonderful team, an amazing team.
That is so important. So I have heard that there is a significant shortage on manpower and people, you know, people who don't want to work or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What's your take on that aspect?
I'm looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. We're waiting for that. Yeah, I think this has been the most challenging part of all of this because we are in a place where, you know, people are getting vaccinated, they're feeling free and comfortable to go out, and people are out, people are ready. They've been locked away for too long. We just don't have literally the manpower to run businesses, you know, the best that we could because of that. You know, we stopped doing lunch just because we don't have anyone to, you know, we're working around the clock with dinner and banquets. To have someone working, you know, 60 hours, that would be what it would call for. Someone to work 60 hours to, you know, compensate for the people who are missing, you know, the understaffed, you know, situation that we're dealing with. So people, please come out, work. You know, we'll pay you, that's for sure, you know. But I don't know. We're just really waiting on the light at the end of the tunnel, just for the turnaround. You know, ultimately things are gonna run out. And hopefully people are ready to get back to work. I think it's been a long time, everyone being locked away. That's how I look at it. You know, so just interacting with people, getting out for a couple hours a week, that's fine. But yes, we need employees. We need people in work.
So I know things have been a little different this past year and a half because of COVID, but as far as promotions, even during COVID, what's worked for you? Are you doing social media? What kind of promotions have you used to get the word out?
So I'm definitely not a millennial, so getting with the social media, you know, I had to grab a couple people to help me with that, but that definitely worked. It was strictly social media. We even run a commercial on Spectrum News is what we've done that consistently. And just doing old school. Honestly, everyone's at home, do mailings. We did that as well with coupons and our menu, just so they knew what we had. So I don't think we stopped at any avenue. Every way we could get the word out, then we did. And it's just pushing it. That was the main thing. You really have to push it.
The industry is changing, technology is changing. What's your take on technology and innovation in restaurants? Restaurants who are using more, technology to serve, to connect. There is a lot of platforms now for restaurants. So what's your approach as a restaurant related to technology and innovation?
I trying to keep up with it, honestly, because if you want to thrive, you have to, know what's up and coming, what's really working. Like I said, we started off when we first took over the business. We had one application, third-party delivery through Grubhub. From there, we have Grubhub, Postmates, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and it was amazing to me to see how many people were actually. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute! And even more was amazing of how much they were spending on these kids. They just don't, people are paying for convenience, so it blew my mind. But my kids, are 21, 22. They're like, oh yeah, this is normal. This is what we do. As well as, our most recent thing is looking at reservations, trying to do online reservations. People want to make reservations. Unfortunately, we're not here all day. So for them to try and call and make a reservation, we may not get that. We don't want to miss it. So we're exploring other options on how we can make sure we're keeping the place packed. So being open again to change and keeping up with the times is definitely necessary. But it's amazing to see, how much technology is involved with the restaurant business.
You mentioned that the restaurant's been around 28 years, which is amazing. It just speaks to a lot of how you've been able to continue that tradition. So with that in mind, how do you decide whether to add something to the menu?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
So, because the restaurant's been around so long and it has all this history and tradition, how do you decide how and when to add a new item to the menu?
Oh, yeah. So we do specials is what we call it. Because this is a family business. It's wonderful because we see the families who have come in for years. They have their favorite table that they sit at. They remember when it used to be booths in here and things like that. So changing much of the menu, you have to do with caution. So, we like to keep the old time favorites, but definitely adding them. I think all the specials that we've added have been a hit. Which in turn we are looking to roll out our new menu, which will include a little bit of both, the old and the new. But yeah, just take it with caution and I think our servers are really good with interacting with our customers and getting them to trust them. Just try this a little bit, we'll give them a taste. Let's just see if you like this. They do, which they do. They'll order and they'll keep coming back.
So important. Your relationship with your clients, your customers. How is your approach to create an environment of happiness and joy in the restaurant? One of the wonderful things that I hear sometimes is people says, this is not a job, this is my passion. So what's your spirit around that and how you motivate your employees and the team that is working with you to achieve that environment?
So like I said, we're definitely a family business. All of our employees we look as such. We've had their own personal, celebrations here. They choose here. And that speaks volumes. When they choose to have something within your own business, they're off the clock. They're not at work. Any other place, most other places. Once you're off the clock, you leave work. But they gladly come back. And that just is because of the way we treat them. We do treat them as family. We speak to them with respect, the same as we expected. We keep a good level of morale. If we're not making food right here in the restaurant, we'll order something. Someone will go make a Starbucks run at the beginning of every shift. We do our employee of the month as well, because I know it's very big. We recognize people for what they do, what they contribute, because it would not be possible without them. Every one person's job affects the next person. So if we keep that in mind and we're working together, we'll all win. So we like to do things like that. We would love to plan an outing or something for all of us in due time. But for the meantime, we do little things here, and it's great. It's great.
And so I don't know if you heard that the governor is just about opening up everything now. Most of the restrictions are down. What's that mean for your business? Are you going to be able to just open up completely again, or is the lack of staff going to be an issue right now?
Yeah, so we're trying to make those decisions, which are going to be hard decisions on how to move forward. I personally, I just resigned from my full-time job. Like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years to come on to the restaurant full-time here. Splitting my time between work, home with the boys, and then coming here. So getting more employees in to work would be great. I think we still want to just step lightly though with how much we're going to open up and what we require of patrons coming in and things like that. But ultimately, we would love to be back full force. We would love to. Having the manpower, we have plenty of space here. We would love to just have everything back to normal, like we said.
Coming up next week on Be Inspired, we'll meet Jared Felton, who started his own successful wealth management firm in the middle of the COVID pandemic.
To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/beinspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Bodette 97.1 Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.